Hello, everyone. We're going to begin our project status meeting. In this current sprint, we completed the strategy analysis knowledge area. This lays out the usage and application of the 6 core concepts utilized by myself during the strategy analysis sprint. You can see there the need is to identify our current state and prioritize needs to determine our desired future state. Our change was to define the future state and develop a change strategy to achieve the future state. Solution is to define the scope of solution as part of the developing a change strategy. Our value, examine the potential value of the solution to determine if a change is justified. The context is to consider the context of the enterprise in developing a change strategy. And the stakeholders is to collaborate with stakeholders to understand the business needs and determine a strategy and future state that meet them needs. So you see here we just completed this step sprint 4. We completed a strategy analysis. In this report, it describes the task used to identify the business need, address the need, and align the change strategy within the enterprise. The 4 tasks in this knowledge area are to analyze the current state, define future state, assess risk, define change strategy. The techniques used to address these tasks were the SWOT analysis, prototyping, risk analysis and management, risk repair, risk register, and brainstorming. And our stakeholders are the same stakeholders that we've had from the beginning of the project. The first task was to analyze the current state to understand the reason why the company needs to make changes and what will be affected by the change, and sets a baseline and context for that change. Here the SWOT analysis identifies the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats of that current state. Next, we moved into the define future state. The purpose of the define future state was to determine the set of necessary conditions to meet the business need and defines what areas need to change to meet those goals. I used the prototyping technique to provide a visual of the future state for the stakeholders to provide input and feedback early in our design process. Next, we did the assess risks. The purpose of assess risks was to understand the undesirable consequences around the change to estimate potential impact, the ability of the change to deliver value, and to make a recommendation for the course of action to address the risk. The table listed here lists some of the risk events that can occur, the consequences if the risk happens, and then it rates them as the probability of the risk occurring, the impact if the risk did occur, and the risk level. And then for each one is also listed a risk modification plan, and that helps to minimize any potential impact that can occur because we already have a plan put in place. And then we have an owner who will, if the risk does occur, is in charge of taking care of the modification plan. Then we have the define change strategy. The purpose here was to develop and assess alternative approaches to the change and select a recommended approach. During the brainstorming event, different strategies to move from current to future state were addressed. And as a group, we came to a consensus of the best strategy to follow based on this given criteria. So in conclusion, using the appropriate techniques for each task, we were able to collaborate with the stakeholders to define the future and transition states needed to address the business need of being eco-conscious and tech-savvy to create value for the company. This concludes the meeting, unless anyone has any questions, comments, or concerns on the strategy analysis knowledge area.